Over the past 3/4 of a century, nearly 6,000 men and women have served as smokejumpers, leaping from airplanes to fight fire in backcountry. It all started when 15 firefighters died on the Blackwater Fire in 1937 in Wyoming backcountry. David Godwin, an assistant chief of the Forest Service and one of the fire investigators, concluded that the management of the fire was intelligent and protective of the men, but it took so long to get to the fire that flames were far beyond control by the time firefighters arrived. A faster response by only a couple of hours, he concluded, might have saved 15 lives. Within 2 years, the Smokejumper program was under development at Winthrop, Washington, and in Montana at Moose Creek and Seeley Lake. My family built a cabin on Seeley Lake in the early 1920s that we own and enjoy to this day. My father, Norman McLean, who was there when the early jumps were being made, later wrote about the Smokejumpers' first great tragedy, the Man Gulch Fire of 1949, in his book, Young Men and Fire. He went from the cabin to see the fire while it was still smoldering. I wrote about the next one in my book, Fire on the Mountain, William Morrow, 1999, an account of the South Canyon Fire of 1994, in which 3 smokejumpers and 11 other firefighters died in flames. I did a lot of the work at Seeley Lake. Today, the Smokejumper program is in trouble. Partly to blame is the loss of backcountry. Development has encroached into previously wild country, a lot of roads have been built, and helicopters can land where there are no roads. Modern regulatory life being what it is, however, many fire supervisors are suspicious of the smokejumpers, always individualistic, sometimes arrogant, prone to jump injuries. Smokejumpers don't fit in well with the bureaucratic slowness that too often marks getting started on a fire. Supervisors often decline to call for smokejumpers as a first resort instead of taking advantage of their finer qualities: quick to a fire, capable of independent action, tireless, and an inspiration to others to perform at peak level. The good news is that smokejumping's storied past may help maintain its future. Jason Ramos's Smokejumper is a rousing personal adventure story, a nutshell history of the great wildland fires, and an insider's brief for making smokejumpers more relevant on today's fireline. Jumpers are the Swiss Army knives of wildland firefighting, Ramos writes. We don't just parachute into remote fires, we can also make it to close-in fires by helo or vehicle, often faster than anyone else. Ramos is a Puerto Rican kid from suburban Los Angeles, small as smokejumpers run, who put in years as a municipal firefighter in hell attack, shunned minority preferences, hid a serious injury, and eventually achieved his ambition to become a smokejumper. That's enough material for a book, but there are other smokejumper books around, and probably more to come as more jumpers step out of parachute harness and take up the pen. What distinguishes Smokejumper is Ramos's mixing of fire history and personal anecdote. He interspersed his own story with brief accounts of the great wildland fires of the past, from the catastrophic Upper Middle West fires of the 19th century to the Yarnell Hill Fire of 2013. Ramos has personal ties to several of these fires. He lost a friend and mentor on the 1994 South Canyon Fire, and went to the 30 Mile Fire in 2001 while it still burned after it took the lives of 2 teenage girls and 2 young men on a fire crew. History comes to life through Ramos's personal connections. The sites where these fires happened are more than sacred ground, the stories of what happened there more than tales of misadventure, and the casualty lists more than footnotes to history, though they are all these things too. Old fires carry embers that can turn to flame and teach new lessons to later generations. Firefighters can walk where others like them walked, face the decisions they made, and try to imagine how they would have handled a life-threatening situation. Civilian visitors get a strong dose of the price mostly young people pay to defend forests and homes, and may come away determined to do their part to make their homes defensible. These days, as fire seasons start earlier and end later, as fires burn hotter and become less predictable, and those who fight them do not doubt that's what's happening, everyone needs a greater awareness of the stakes involved,